Yo, what's going on, guys? Back in the building. M2HK coming at you. We got a couple topics we want to talk to you about today. But first of all, Jalen, how are you?
Doing well, sir. How are you?
Well, we just had a good meal.
Yes.
Hopefully, every time we try to do one of these, some shit goes wrong. So we'll see what goes down. But
still the early stages. So, what are we talking about?
First, I say we dive into this whole Ball brothers thing out in Lithuania doing their thing.
Yeah, and mad props. I mean, a lot of people don't have a good image of LaVar Ball, but it's really the perspective and lens that you're looking at him by. I mean, you can look at him for the blasphemous, obnoxious dad that he is, NBA dad. You can see that he's overstepped his boundaries a couple times. But the way that we want to look at him today, and the way that I'm actually very happy about talking about him, is the moves that he's making across the seas. The things that he's doing is unprecedented. If they have been precedented before, it has been very low key.
Mm-hmm.
But the way that he's presenting situations, the way that he's executing his missions, his plans, his endeavors have been seemingly flawless at this point. But
I mean, it seems like he can pretty much do whatever he wants and get away with it at this point.
Yeah.
There's no stopping this guy. If he sets his mind to something, he's gonna do it. Obviously, his whole goal is to have 3 sons play in the NBA, and I think he's not gonna stop until he gets that. That's pretty obvious at this point. And I don't even know. I feel like now he's more focused on, obviously he's got Lonzo in the league, but he's kind of focused on building up their brand at this point. LaMelo, he's 16 years old,
professional, essentially.
Pretty much, yeah. So, yeah, it's really cool to see them out there in Lithuania kind of doing their thing. Obviously, not everyone's thrilled about it, but, you can't hate on, kids that at the end of the day, they're just kids and they're, playing the sport that they love to play. And, it's nice to see that they have that option to go over there and, play in whatever the youth league, I guess, right now is what they're doing.
And it's a cool thing, too. LaVar Ball, a lot of people thought that he would stop after Alonzo got to the league.
Yeah.
A lot of people think that, okay, he's got his son to be a Laker, why do more now? But, let's just mark off the things that this guy's done since he became like a figure. Launched his own shoe brand, his own clothing brand. He's got an established brand in general. He's got, the website. The cool thing, too, about the league abroad is that he's actually, you probably already know this, but lifted the team that they're on out of the league they were in to do these BBB challenge games. And if you look at these challenge games, which are in partnership with Facebook to stream them, the logo is plastered all over these arenas. The middle logo is the BBB logo. It's like, imagine making a logo that's yours and is in the center of a court. Even the referees are donning this logo, which the publicity that he's getting, and it's not only that. Me and you were talking earlier about double wins. Win for this guy, win for us, trying to get in positions where we can make a win-win situation.
Mm-hmm.
No one would be talking about this Lithuanian team if not for LaVar Ball.
Right.
And if you look at, I was watching a stream of this video of them playing, and the referee, the commentators, which were fun, hilarious.
Right.
By the way,
they definitely need to come over here.
Yeah, those. But they were really excited to be knowing that Americans, people that usually wouldn't watch their segments, are now tuning in to watch their teams play.
Definitely, and not only on that, but obviously you have NBA scouts are checking out, LaMelo, D'Angelo, and they're not only seeing them, but they're seeing the other players that are showing up. Because there's a lot of talent over there.
Yeah.
That otherwise maybe it would have gone unnoticed. Obviously every draft you have a few players from overseas, but obviously this Lithuania league and even the teams that they're playing against, it's good exposure for everyone. So, you can look at it like, LaVar is, exposing his kids to this, and this. He's making them play in Lithuania, but it's honestly, I don't know if this was his intentions or not, but it's kind of working out for everyone because, like I said, the scouts are taking a look at these people, and if they're showing out, then that's scouts are gonna go home and go to their general manager and be like, look, there's this guy over there, and he's balling. I think we should take a look at him. So it's really helpful for everyone. Not just the his sons, of course.
Yeah, and kind of the last note about this too. I mean, LaVar, well, he's doing moves like a corporation would do,
Right.
and this is a one man army essentially.
Yeah, he's got like a few business partners.
Yeah, but he's the headhunter, the vanguard of his brand, and he's taking things by the helm himself. So you think about the things that corporations do that people aren't proud of. You can look at Nike, Adidas, Under Armour, any other of these brands, and they've done things that we always harp on them about. But now it's a lot easier to do the same thing with LaVar because it's one person, and it's a lot easier to point the finger at one person. And LaVar, not only that, he's embracing this attention. He's not folding under pressure, and neither are his kids either. So you got to think about who's actually losing in these situations. If anything, it has been the Lakers organization in general because they're at the end of the day they're a business trying to do their own thing. They have Lonzo in there and all that thing with Luke Walton, and we're not going to talk about that, which was a shitty thing for LaVar to do, but that comes with him. You know, it's a package deal. But all right, so now we're going to talk about just the NBA in general, the vibes that it's been getting. A lot of altercations recently within the league. The whole thing with the Rockets, the whole thing with that Magic game when I forgot who threw the fist. I don't even know who threw it, but someone ended up throwing a haymaker in the Orlando game. A lot of technicals being called. I know Courtney Lee had a crazy technical called on him the other day against Memphis, and so it's like the referees are on edge because the players have been really aggressive lately, but the referees themselves has been really aggressive too with the calls. So they're trying to get this middle ground, but essentially there's just this bad vibe, this aura going around the NBA. It's always been a league full of drama queens and kings or whatever, but I think now it's been kind of aggressive lately.
Honestly, I think it all comes down to the Warriors. I think
a lot of tension.
Everyone's just so like mad they can't beat these guys that they're like, they're just taking it out on each other, I guess. But I mean, that's just one theory. I don't know if it's kind of far fetched, but I mean, honestly, like, you have everyone in the league, 29 other teams are chasing the Warriors, and you know, no one can beat them. I mean, obviously they lose games here and there in the regular season, but at the end of the day, no one's gonna beat them in a 7-game series. I think everyone's just like, wow, like we can't beat them, so let's just kill each other.
I may be wrong. I mean, I've just recently, within the last couple of years, been really big into NBA, but I could be wrong in saying that usually when teams would build and get their draft picks, make trades, they would try to do the best they can to better themselves as an organization in a cohesive unit. But now recently, especially in this Cavs Warrior era, they are not really focused on what they can do to be better, but what can they do to beat another team. You know what I'm saying? Beat one team at that. It's not about beating the other 31 teams, or it's about what can they do in order to outgun the Warriors, to defend the Warriors. How can they shut down LeBron James? Like, how can they slow down that Cavaliers hot offense?
Yeah.
So I think there's a lot of identity issues.
Yeah. Or even like teams aren't even trying at this point, and they're just kind of almost tanking all their season, so they build up a young team that's going to be there like after all these guys are done. LeBron probably not going to be around much longer. Who knows how long the Warriors last? That could last forever, but
yeah.
Obviously you have the Lakers who have built up a young team. You have the 76ers who have built up this young team, and those teams are going to go at it for 15 years to come. Provided everybody stays put and everything. But and then like even from that you have like I even heard today people are talking about should Kawhi Leonard even come back this season. Obviously he's hurt right now, and they should even bring him back because I mean, why are they? What's the point of rushing him back if they're not going to win?
They will compete. Yeah, same thing with Gordon Hayward.
Yeah,
which is a little different because the Celtics are balling a lot this year as they were first seed last year as well. But with this, if you look at the Boston Celtics, you look at yourself in the mirror and you think, okay, can we get out of the East?
Right.
Can we beat LeBron James? And then when we do, if we were to overcome LeBron James, which if they were to be LeBron, it'd be in 6 or 7 and then close 6 or 7.
Right.
And then you had to go and face a full-fledged Warriors team. Probably haven't even dropped a game or two like that whole playoff run.
Right.
I remember I think it was 2015. They dropped maybe 2 games until the finals, which that was a great finals. But it's crazy because there's definitely been a tone shift in sports in general. which we'll be talking about the NFL a little bit later with Chandler. But sports in general, it's become more than just a game, which of course it always it's always has been more than just a game, but it's even glaring more so now. A lot of personalities, a lot of drama, a lot of
Yeah,
bickering and fighting. It's almost like a playground.
it almost feels like they know that that's how they're good. Whereas right now, obviously, back to the Warriors, you're no, like ESPN's not going to show your highlights just for winning, just a regular season game, you know. So it's almost like they feel like they have to do this. Like everybody wants to like show out. Everybody wants to have like their moment, so to speak. You know, to be like in the spotlight or whatever, whether it be negative or not. You know, they want that moment, and it almost feels like that's what people are doing at this point because it's like you know, we're just like everybody loves that. You know, it just creates storylines, and so everyone's gonna tune in. I guess you know players are starting to realize that that's what it feels like, and everyone's like, you know, let's just go out there and just not even play the game, just you know, do these technicals and you know fight each other and all that. So
Just talk about that more too. I mean, the NBA is like there's so many teams, there's so many personalities, and you don't want as an organization like if you're Silver, right? You don't want it to be just two teams. You want there to be some sort of equivalency throughout the two conferences, which we can go on and on about how they should disband the conferences and all that jazz. But even like the All Star thing is coming up, and they're doing a captain system this time around. And guess who the two captains are? Steph Curry and LeBron James.
right,
And the first thing you think about is the Warriors and Cavaliers. So it's just like a pregame to the finals. That wait, what about all the other teams that are in the equation? Or
right.
is there even an equation involving the other teams? And if you're these other organizations, it's not a. It's like how can you be relevant? You want to make ticket sales. You want to be able to provide for the city. You want to be able to provide for your players so they can stay for years to come. And it's just really tough being in NBA right now. And honestly, that has a big reason why I don't have a specific NBA team that's my favorite.
That's yeah. It's I think that's how a lot of people are now. They just have
Favorite players.
favorite players
Yeah.
because you know what's the point of having a favorite team if you're just playing for what are you gonna be happy that they made the playoffs or like what? Because there's no, I mean, there's no point. Obviously, like every team has their like diehard fans, but I mean, at the end of the day, you know, you're still gonna be disappointed in the end. More than like obviously you can have big hopes or whatever, but it's just not realistic right now
Yeah.
that they're gonna win. So
But on the bright side of everything, you don't want to sound too down on the NBA. The NBA is a great league, and they definitely have a lot of bright future prospects in the making. I mean, you have Lonzo, the Lakers, you have Booker, the Phoenix, you have Kyrie and his young squad with Tatum and Brown up in Boston. You got Porzingis, with the Knicks. I mean, hella talent, young talent all around the league. We got even more draft prospects coming up to be drafted soon. So when this Cavaliers, the thing is too, this Cavaliers Warriors, it's an era. It's an era that's going to die.
you had Celtics, Lakers, you know,
Yeah,
multiple times. Obviously, you had you know the Bulls doing their thing. You know, it's just another one of those things where, unfortunately for the NBA, sometimes you know it does seem to be always that one or two dominant teams throughout. You know, you can look at the entire history of the NBA, and it's always been kind of like that. So it's just kind of unfortunate for them, you know. But at the end of the day, it's kind of like that in every major sport. You know, obviously the Patriots are dominating. I guess the MLB is a little different. You know, they have multiple teams every year, but you know, in the NBA, it's kind of always you know predictable. It's always kind of has been predictable at the end of the year. But I will say that I've enjoyed watching the NBA a lot more this year, just because I guess there's a lot more storylines, a lot more like you know anticipation for a lot of these games.
it's a great
Like that.
entertainment.
Yeah,
It's
so
great entertainment.
you know at the end of the day, it's still entertaining to watch. They're still getting good ratings. You know, borderline passing the NFL. That's probably going to be coming up pretty soon. And obviously the kids are leaning towards playing basketball more than playing football at this stage. So you know the NBA has definitely got a bright future, like you were saying. So you know I'm not worried about it. This era it's going to come to an end. They all eras do. So after that we'll see what happens. All right, guys. I think that's gonna do it for us today. You know, definitely gonna try to keep uploading. You have any more closing remarks?
Yeah, like you said, we're just gonna try to get into a formidable schedule. I think instead of sticking to a base schedule, we'll probably go more towards events things. So when big events happen that we want to really cover and tickle and talk about, it'll definitely be at least one week and talk about big things going on in the community. We're gonna try to find less sports things to talk about, but right now it's a really sports heavy time.
Yeah.
So when sports starts, dwindling down, it'll be more about current events and stuff like that. But this show's more about anything we feel like talking about, and even one day it may not be nothing like a regular show, maybe a topical discussion or something
Right.
else.
Yeah, we're definitely gonna have some more topics. Probably talk about the whole one and done thing. We'll talk about maybe an episode about the status of YouTube and all that.
Which we definitely need to discuss.
What's going on there. But yeah, if you guys have any suggestions for what you want to hear us talk about, anything like that, you can definitely just leave that in the comments below. And don't forget to leave a like on the video, subscribe if you're new. That's really all I have.
That's all we have. All right, man. Like I said, like and subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.